Well, good morning. I am House Minority Leader Lisa Damath, and thank you for being here today. We've got an important topic with all of the work in the legislature and with our final weeks coming very close. As you've noticed, to the north of the state office building, there is a project going on over there. That's the expansion and the renovation of the state office building. And I want to make sure that everyone watching and listening today understands that the floor of that project is $730 million that is going to be spent to expand and renovate an office for 134 legislators. And reminder, we are here on a part-time basis. We have been talking about this all session with questions asking for that project to, first of all, be more transparent for the public, and that has been shut down in rules. We have asked that the public would be aware of this and we could take a look at it, and that has been shut down. But the reason we are meeting with you today is tomorrow starts the first payment on that project. Nothing has been paid yet. We still have today where we could actually make a difference. That first payment on the state office building project is $11 million. $11 million for office building that is excessive. It's more than is needed. It is not transparent. But that is also where we have a looming deficit in front of us as a state. Those are taxpayer dollars that would be better spent in other ways. Today on the House floor, we are going to have a number of amendments, and you're going to hear from our amendment authors. But I also have a bill that I will be bringing up that would actually pause the project. It would have a January 1st, 2025 date. It would reinsert the cap board. And why that is important is last May in 2023, the Capital Area Arts and Architectural Board has been cut out of this project. The original intent by the architect for the Capitol here, Cass Gilbert, was that all sides of the Capitol would be viewable and accessible north, south, east, and west to the public. It would be up on a hill. What this project has done is it has cut out the cap board, and it has actually made it so the west direction from the Capitol will be cut off by an expansive building. My bill today, an urgency on the House floor, is going to pause the project, not cancel it, pause the project, reinsert that cap board, and make sure all aspects are looked at in a proper way of the project that is ahead. We're going to stand for questions in just a little bit, but next I want to turn it over to Representative Pam Altendorf, and she's going to talk about the amendment that she will be offering on the House floor today.
Thank you, Leader Damath, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Representative Pam Altendorf from the Red Wing area. I also serve on the Education Finance Committee, and it has been very disappointing as a first-term member to see misplaced priorities this year. We went into the session with a $19 billion surplus. They had the money to fully fund schools, and today, 1 year later after last session, most of the schools are worse off than they were last year. Why? They've been crippled by 65 new mandates, which is very disappointing to see when our schools were already in a financial need, and now to add additional burdens to them. My amendment today on the floor is to redirect funding from this, what we will call the Palace for Politicians, direct it back to our schools locally for things like roofs. We have a real need locally, and the local taxpayers should not shoulder this burden when the state representatives are wasting our dollars and not putting them where they're needed most. Just today, I have had several conversations with superintendents in my districts, and they are looking at shortfalls coming up. And so Minnesotans need to ask themselves, how did we go from a record surplus? Fully funding our schools should have happened last year. How did we go from a record surplus to this year our schools struggling? And that's the real shame that's happening here in Minnesota. And now I'll turn it over to Leader Torkelson.
Good morning, everyone. A couple of points about this project. One, with a price tag of over $700 million, we're spending about $1 million a day with a 2-year time horizon on that project. It's a tremendous amount of money. You know, as I look out my office window, I see a large square plywood box. Leif Erikson is stuck in a box. And I feel like Leif Erikson has something in common with the public here. We're not getting the details on this project, detailed coverage of what's going on. And the other thing that's going on, as I look out my window, I see the archaeologists out there working almost every day. They've got their shaker table, they're shaking through things, they're finding artifacts, and we can't get any information about it. We would like to know, is that holding up this project, which will add more cost and more time, delay to getting this done. You know, we're going to be repositioned in another building. If that's delayed past a 2-year horizon, just think of the extra cost and trouble caused by this problem. So with that, we're happy to stand for questions.
Are there any legal implications of not making a payment on schedule?
You're going to have to yell because I have bad hearing.
Are there any legal implications to not making this payment on schedule for the state?
I am not aware of legal implications, but we'll certainly be exploring that. Leader Damon.
If we can declare this urgency and if that would be accepted by the majority party today, we would look at all of those issues. Again, we are not trying to stop the project. We just want to make sure that it is being done in a transparent way. It was not done in a transparent way, has not been. We'll look at those legal implications if there are any. Right now, we are not delinquent on anything, and that is not the intent that we would be. Other questions?
Question maybe for Representative Altendorf. Sure. Are there concerns that such an amendment might need to be heard in other committees like state and local government?
Yeah, it's very possible that they will call by amendment out of order, and that's typically, being the minority party, that's what we have seen very often, is they are not even having the discussions of these different amendments that we are offering. I think most Minnesotans want to see both parties work together and to make this better for Minnesotans, and this is just not happening this year. We're just seeing it's a one-way show, and it's their way or no way.
So if the building itself was transparent, you could see the west entrance.
Can you repeat the question?
If the building itself was transparent, you could still see the west entrance of the
Well, we don't need a transparent building, but as you know, if you've looked at the project that was done, the Senate office building, it keeps the north steps open from the Capitol. The way that building was designed, the CAP board was a part of it. If you look at the CAP board website, they have been involved in every project on the Capitol complex and the surrounding areas. For the majority to have removed them and their ability to be involved in one pet project, a palace for politicians, is ridiculous. They need to be reinserted back in, so we're doing things in an architectural manner that upholds the intent of this building, the entire Capitol complex, and so we can do the right thing.
Concerns also extend to the $8.5 million that was just announced in the bonding bill to work on that tunnel.
So you would think with $730 million, and that is again the floor, they can spend more because of the way that was crafted, the language on this. You would think that $730 million for this building would be enough, but as we have seen coming through the Capital Investment Committee, another $8 million to make the tunnel from the state office building to the Capitol ADA compliant. Our question is, why wasn't that transparent? Why wasn't that put into the price? And we don't know what else we will be able to uncover that have been hidden costs or kept from the public because it has not been a transparent process. We have asked all session in rules to bring the administration in and help us understand. Yes, there were hearings before when this project came through. We're a completely different legislature. There are new members in here. It is under different control, and we need to have that transparent. So whatever else is hidden, the only way we're going to know that is if the majority actually chooses to be honest and upfront for the public and bring in the full costs, how things, I mean, there are architectural items in the state office building. We don't know how those are going to be handled. Will they be preserved? Will they be used in the new building? There are many unanswered questions, and it's not for lack of trying and asking those questions.
The decision to exclude the CAP board, was that part of the enabling legislation?
That decision to exclude the CAP board was in the cash bonding bill in May of 23. It was a late Democrat priority.
Off topic, thoughts thoughts on the bonding bill in general? I mean, have you had a chance to look through it and decide, talk with the caucus about what a position might look like on that?
On the bonding bill, that work is still being done. As I have said, everything is possible and nothing is possible. We are in unknown territory with the last few weeks of session and some of the concerns that have happened within the Senate. We are the House. We will do our work. But the integrity of the institution of the legislature has got to be maintained, and that will matter in all decisions that are made going forward. Any other questions for us?
Is this going to be an amendment to Joachim's bill, the education supplemental bill?
You will see a variety of amendments, both in the transportation omnibus bill, in the education bill. There are multiple ways that you'll see these coming forward. What we need is the public to be aware of what has been happening here and how it has been hidden from the public. Any other questions for us? Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here today.